Hi there. Welcome to the Williamson Watchers Special Election Podcast. We are so pleased to bring you interviews with the current candidates in the Tennessee 7 Congressional Republican primary. Here were the rules. We asked the same set of questions to each candidate. We estimated each podcast would take about 15 minutes, but we allotted a half an hour block for each. We have held the release of the podcast until all the candidates wishing to participate were able to participate, therefore not giving an advantage to any one candidate. We invited all 11 candidates. We're happy to showcase here 7 candidates who are in the Tennessee Republican primary. The candidates joining us are Jody Barrett, Gino Bolso, Adolph Dagan, Mason Foley, Joe Lures, Stuart Parks, and Trace Whittam. Stuart Cooper was unable to record due to scheduling conflicts. We did not receive a response from candidates Jason Knight, Lee Reeves, and Matt Van Epps. We hope you are able to watch or listen to all the candidates. You will certainly get to know the candidates better, become better informed on some of the issues, and perhaps be surprised by a candidate or two. Remember, we are not journalists. We are the Republican Party of Williamson County. Our goal was to have all of our Republican candidates do well and give them an opportunity to speak to you directly on their platform and ideas. They did not disappoint. As a follow-up, we are holding a debate on September 15th, 2025 at the Church of the Nazarene in Franklin at 7 p.m. We hope that you can attend and see for yourself the quality of candidates Tennessee 7 can produce. This debate will be moderated by Fox News and 99.7 WWTN commentator Brian Wilson. You can send us questions for the candidates at tennessee7@williamsongop.org. Now on to the Williamson Watchers. Welcome to the Williamson Watcher podcast. I'm Peg Raciti with the Williamson County Republican Party. Alongside me are my cohorts, ever watchful, Elliot Franklin and Leanne Cates. Today, we welcome Mason Foley, who is running for Congress in the Tennessee 7th. Welcome, Mason Foley.
Thank you, guys. Excited to be here.
Nice to have you. So the first question is really simple. We just want you to tell us about yourself.
Well, happy to do that. And again, thank you for having me. I grew up in Williamson County. I went to Page Middle and Page High School and loved it and think it's just, the greatest county on earth. But ended up going to Clemson University in South Carolina. At Clemson, I ended up becoming student body president. And after college, ended up moving to Washington, D.C., worked on Capitol Hill for a while, but always wanted to come back home. So around the time that Joe Biden became president, decided to move back to Tennessee and started working at a healthcare startup company. We had the business in 7 counties in West Tennessee. We focused on rural healthcare and helped expand it to 26 states. It was an incredible experience. We have over 2,000 employees now, over 600,000 patients. It was an awesome opportunity to see the country and really do a lot of good for the healthcare system. And since then, I've remained pretty involved in Middle Tennessee. I was a part of Nashville Healthcare Council, was selected to be a member of Leadership Tennessee Next, and also a member of a men's nonprofit group called Phoenix Club of Middle Tennessee. So that's a quick overview. I'm happy to answer any specific questions you guys have, and really looking forward to the conversation.
Appreciate that, Mason. I mean, this one kind of naturally folds into that. Is what actually compelled you to run for the District 7 seat?
I want to be a fighter for the American middle class and a common sense voice for the next generation. There's this quote from President Reagan that I think about a lot, and it's been the theme of our race so far. It's that freedom is only one generation away from extinction. And it's time for my generation to pick up the torch. I say it almost everywhere we go, and it's true. You look at the Democrats; they're so good at getting young people elected, and you look at what's happening up in New York City or with AOC or Maxwell Frost. If I'm to win this race, I'll be the first Republican Gen Z member of Congress, and I think that it's a voice that deserves to be heard. I mean, President Trump, he had unbelievable progress made with the younger generation with his last election. And so we need to cement that progress and make sure that he has that voice in Congress supporting him.
I'll be curious to hear what you say when I ask you, what's the definition of a conservative?
To me, a conservative is, and this is, I haven't heard it articulated like this too many times, but to me, a conservative is, there's a lot of meanings, but the one that's most compelling to me is believing that everyone in life deserves an equal opportunity to succeed, but what you do with your opportunity is up to you. And I think the opposite of that is people believing that everyone in life deserves an equal outcome, regardless of what you do with your opportunities. And so I even go as far to say that we should change the name of the GOP from the Grand Old Party to the Grand Opportunity Party. I think it would be a good theme for the young people. But it's a huge issue. When I was student body president at Clemson, Charlie Kirk, his group, they were really focused on making sure that there were more conservative leaders on college campuses. They were just getting started, and what they noticed was they surveyed all the members of Congress, and I haven't checked this, but what they told me was the number one common denominator between members of Congress wasn't what their major was or what profession they had. It was that 70% of them were involved in student government and higher education. And you look at most of the people that are involved in student government and higher education, and they're liberal, right? And so it's like, his group came and spoke to me and a couple other student body presidents around campus, and they said, like, hey, how can we get more young people engaged on their college campuses? And so I think that he's done a great job with his program, and hopefully we can take all the lessons that I've learned and that the progress that President Trump has made and cement it up in Congress.
Very good.
Thank you. So you are about to be in a Republican primary election. We currently have open primaries. Do you think that Tennessee should have open primaries or closed primaries?
I think that is a fantastic state issue. I have a lot more experience working in the federal government. I do think that, there are a lot of cons to having open primaries, but I don't think that we should let that hold us back from making sure that our people get out to vote and that our conservative voices are heard, and that we're going to make sure that we have somebody that's going to represent us in a strong way and can win this election on December.
So I'll follow up. I know you mentioned earlier that you've spent some time in D.C. I guess in various positions. If you were elected and you moved to D.C., how would you protect yourself from what we call the swamp up there, the influences?
Well, the good thing is I'm young enough that I have enough energy to come back and forth enough, right? It's like I think that I would go up to D.C., vote, do my job, and come back home and be with the people. I love it here and don't want to get too ingrained. I've seen it. Some people go up there and they are enamored with the lights and the microphones and the Fox News and the tweeting and everything, and they forget how to serve their constituents. And I think, a lot of, and I mentioned this a lot as well too, but a lot of people will go up to Washington and they'll chase those microphones and they'll try to, change the world. But the reality is you're one of 435 people. In this special election, we're running to finish Mark Green's term. So you have a year, you're going to be at the bottom of that 435. And so your main goal is to go up there, support the president and make sure that he gets his agenda across the finish line going into the midterms. And then hopefully, with my election and the message that we're going to send with the young voters behind the president, we have a boost going into the midterms, and I feel like I could add a lot of value there. But the single most important thing outside of that is constituent services and making sure that you can provide world-class constituent services for your people back home, no matter what it is. But when they reach out, they get an answer and they have a solution for the issues that they're having. And a lot of that, too, isn't just the operation you have up in Washington, D.C., but making sure that it's robust enough to serve all 14 counties in this district. And that's something that I think I could come in and do on day one and build off of what Congressman Green has done and hopefully improve it a little bit.
Okay.
Thanks.
I love the going back and forth. You do have more energy than Bob probably would to do that. So the next question is really simple. Yes, yes or no, and go ahead and explain. But do
Okay.
you support term limits?
I do. I think that and that's another perfect reason why I'm running for Congress, right? It's like, I think that right now I have enough energy. I can go up there and add a lot of value, but it's not something that should be my career, nor do I want it to be my career, right? It's like, I've loved starting these businesses. I think that my experience, I'm uniquely positioned right now in this moment to go up and add a lot to the Republican Party and President Trump's agenda. And I'm not going to feel that way when I'm raising my family or, making a salary to try to send my kids to college. Like, I want to go up there, serve, give it my all, and come back and live in this great county and state that we have.
Excellent. So you were talking about business and you had a successful startup, but there's some people that are making a business out of trading stocks, some members of Congress. So my question is, do you support banning members of Congress from trading stocks?
Listen, nobody should be getting rich off of running the government, right? This is a place that we go to serve. So of course, I think that we should ban stock, and particularly like insider trading, right? At least, like, if you're going to have the information before anyone else does, and you're going to make laws, it's just like, this is the common sense stuff that I think the Republican Party owns the issues on that the younger generation's not necessarily understanding, right? It's like, these are the type of issues that resonates with almost everybody you talk to that has a brain, and like, we want to make sure that we get that out. So yes, of course, but it's just, one of those common sense things. You go up to serve, you don't go up there to get rich.
So I'm going to take it a little different angle here. On President Trump has put out an executive order around election integrity. What steps, if any, would you help to push that over the finish line to help that get implemented? The executive order that he pushed through.
I think that any of his executive orders need to be codified. I mean, you remember, all of us remember, it's like Joe Biden's first day. It's like he had a stack of bills on his table that he was just slashing all of President Trump's executive orders. And so making sure that we go in and ensuring that our elections are free and fair is of the utmost importance. And I think we've done a pretty good job here in Tennessee making sure that ours are. But some places like in California where they allow illegal immigrants to vote, it's like, that's just something that shouldn't be allowed in our country. And so not just making sure the elections are free and fair, but also making sure that the census is counting people the way that the census should count people. I mean, you look at the House and the way these districts are allocated. It's like, I have looked at several different projections, but it's like Tennessee, we should maybe even have another congressional seat, right? It's like some of these other places are counting people that shouldn't be counted and shouldn't be able to vote. And so a long answer to say, yes, we should codify all of President Trump's executive orders.
Okay.
Thanks.
A few years ago, the Freedom Caucus was formed, and they've actually done quite a bit, but we've seen some comings and goings from some of the members of the Freedom Caucus, and I know you have to be invited, but if you are invited to be a part of the Freedom Caucus, would you be willing to join?
I think the Freedom Caucus is an incredible group. Like you said, you have to be invited. I would be very thankful to be extended an invitation, and I would highly, highly consider it. I have heard from other members that are a part of the Freedom Caucus that have since left or have been asked to leave, that it does restrict you sometimes whenever you're trying to serve your constituents. And I don't know if that's necessarily the truth, but if there's ever a conflict between me being able to provide for the counties in Middle and West Tennessee that are in this district because of my allegiance to the Freedom Caucus, then I would choose to not be a part of that. But on paper, it seems like an organization that I'd love to be a part of and support.
Okay.
Excellent. So this is going to take another turn to international relations. Can you speak on any topic of international importance, whether it's Ukraine, the Middle East, or tariffs, and speak a bit about your view on that topic?
I can do them all, but I think it's I think the high level is President Trump, particularly with Ukraine and the tariffs. He has done a good job at finally getting some of our allies and closest people to pay their fair share in some of these arrangements, right? The fact that he had all of the European leaders in the Oval Office isn't something that's happened. I mean, I don't even remember when, but they said it was the 80s, maybe the 60s that we've had all those people here. And so he's been leading the way on making sure that America has restored its integrity and dominance on the national stage, and also making sure that we're not sending our troops to fight in wars they don't need to be in, and making sure that we're not, sending money to places money doesn't need to go. It's a lot of this stuff. It goes back to what we talked about too. It's common sense. It's like, if we can't take care of our problems here at home, then we don't need to be getting involved in international things that we don't have a reason to be there. And so, I think that President Trump has made a lot of progress. He's done a great job. I'd, love to see where the negotiations and everything continue to go with President Putin, and hopefully we can have some sort of a resolution there. But would love to continue the progress.
Excellent. Well, Mason, obviously you've explained a lot of experiences that you've had from the different positions in student body president and then serving at the startups. If you had to name just one experience, what one experience would you give that really sets you up for the TN7 role?
I mean, one. It's like, I think being a part of the team that was helping and growing the rural healthcare startup was the most impactful, and definitely allowed me to understand people from all over the country. Like, there's this story. I mean, I have thousands of patient stories that I could tell you from that we had, but it's even one that resonates a lot with me is there was this guy. He was in Kentucky. And we saw in our data that he kept going to the emergency room, right? And we couldn't figure out why. And so the way that our model is set up is that we have extra resources that we provide to these clinics, because providers are overwhelmed. They don't have enough time to allow their patients to follow care plans, so on and so forth. And so we give them this extra set of hands of non-clinical person that can help them navigate the care plans. And so we saw this man, he kept going to the ER, and what we noticed we sent the navigators, what we call them, to his house. And the navigator noticed that he was on a defibrillator and his electricity was out. So every time that he would plug this in, he couldn't breathe, right? He's like on a oxygen mask. And so he kept calling the ambulance, and they would take him, make him back, and he'd go home. And so what this person did was they then got in touch with the electric company, got all of his bad debt waived, got him on a payment plan, and now he's perfectly fine and not going to the ER. And so what I've seen is that there's so many people in this country that want to do good and want to, prioritize their health and do the right thing, but also not burden people with their issues. Right? It's like, I think that's the biggest thing. And one of the potential flaws of Republicans and conservatives is like, we want to handle things ourselves. But it's like understanding the issues that these people were facing and the ways that we can help them by empowering them, not trapping them into some, never ending social program or trying to tell them exactly the way they need to live their life or run their business, but giving them the tools to live their life they want to live without being burdened by taxes and bills. And so they'll be healthier, they'll be stronger. And I think that, that's one example of many, but being able to interact with people from all over the country really has put me in this position to understand, like, hey, this is the way that we should legislate and let people really have the freedom to make the decisions they need to make.
Very, very good. Well, you, I believe, are probably one of the youngest, if not the youngest, candidate running for this district seat.
Yeah,
and
definitely the youngest.
But you strike me as what I call an old soul, someone who's kind of a little bit more wise beyond their years. We thank you for your time, and we wish you the best going forward. And hope to see you at some of our candidate forums here in both in Williamson County and around the district. And just thank you so much for being here today.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it goes too quick. If you guys ever want to chat more, just let me know. I'll come back on. But have a great Labor Day too, and everything.
Thank you.
And I'll see you guys around. If you ever need anything, let me know. But really enjoyed the time.
Awesome.
Well, we hope to see you at our upcoming debate.
Yeah,
it'll be fun. 300 people this time, right? Couldn't keep them out in West Haven. Right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you.
Well, thank you guys so much. Yeah, you guys have a great weekend.
Thanks, you too.